Greetings, Pasadenans and heroes everywhere. It is I, your friendly neighborhood Rabbi John Carrier, coming at you live for RabbiChat, presented by Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. We are live on Facebook through the Temple's Facebook page. You can check that out. Just go to Facebook, look for Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, and you will find us. And if you want to see us on YouTube instead, you can go to YouTube. That's our YouTube channel. Just once again, go to YouTube, look for Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I don't think there's a lot of them, but my favorite way to connect is through twitch.tv. That's twitch.tv/Pasadena Jewish. And this is kind of an Ask Me Anything session, which most of these are. But feel free to join us anytime soon and ask me anything at all. I'm going to say a couple of words about the book of Leviticus today. This is a parsha that we're starting this week, is Parashat Vayikra, which is the first parsha, the first Torah portion in Sefer Vayikra, or the book of Leviticus. And I see Triggers and Viv is joining us. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, she says. Nice to see you here. And so I'll say a little bit about the book of Leviticus and then just kind of open it up to your questions. We'll go for about half an hour or so, but I'll hang around as long as people feel like chatting until I have to go get ready for Shabbos. You know, that's a thing that we do. And in any case, I'm really happy to be with you today. Happy to be with anyone, anywhere, as a matter of fact. And might as well, you know, if we're going to do this, let me show you my face. Sorry about that, guys. That's my face. It's one I was born with, only now with more shaving. So, one second. Mm-hmm. Nice to see you all here. Once again, I'm Rabbi John Carrier. If you have any questions at all about Jewish stuff, you've come to a place. You've come to the right place. I'm happy to take whatever questions you have in the chat. Not really a call-in show yet. Maybe that's something we'll work on as we use 21st century technology to get back into the days of live television. This is the time we're in. This is 2020 by the Gregorian calendar, Anno Mundi 5780 by the Hebrew calendar. And who knew? Who knew that basically all Torah teaching at this point would go online, aside from, books, which I highly recommend. So I did not see this coming when I started teaching on the internet a couple of years ago. I've been teaching on YouTube for about 6 years now, and a couple of years ago I decided to go teach rabbi stuff on the internet full time. And since then I've gotten involved with the great synagogue in Pasadena, and looks like I'm going to be hanging out there for a while, which I'm really, really happy about. And I didn't expect that in the last couple of weeks, even as the rabbi in a synagogue, in person, IRL, in real life, as the kids say, this is like IRL comes from IRC chat in like the 70s maybe. But in any case, little did I know, the closer I got to an in-person IRL congregation, the more teaching online I'd be doing. So that's where we're at. And I'm really happy that we can still connect with each other. As everybody's saying, the safest thing you could do right now is stay home. Let's see, Triggers and Viv says actually he changed from no costume change from this morning, lol. Actually, he changed from his Fun Friday t-shirt. So there's another show that I've been doing for a while, a live streaming this way. And I usually wear t-shirts for that. It's Fun Friday. I don't know if Pasadena's ready for Fun Friday. This isn't me judging you, Pasadena. This is me calling you out. Are you guys ready for some fun on Fridays? I like to be serious in these serious times. There's a lot of people who are hurting. I actually just got a phone call from a colleague, a rabbi who had a great honor that some of us have from time to time. Most of us have at one point or another, of saying vidui. Vidui means confession. You might, it's a part of the Yom Kippur service is the vidui, where we kind of confess our sins. And other than Yom Kippur, where a lot of people encounter this, is at death. And when we pass, there is an opportunity for holiness. There's an opportunity that we don't have last rites in the same way that like Catholics or other Christian denominations have last rites. Nobody sprinkles anything on us, no crosses or other accoutrement involved. There is a long-standing tradition that the optimal thing to be a Jew's last words is the Shema, right? Is that declaration of faith as 6-word prayer. If you want to know more about that, tune in for live streaming services. We say it a couple of times. But so this idea is that we like to end our lives, if we're able, consciously, to say the Shema, and also there's a prayer of confession. And it's not like a litany of sins confession. It's not a, when I was 6 years old, I shoplifted some bubble gum, and then when I was 12, I stole some hubcaps, and then all the way up to yesterday. It's not that kind of confession. It's more like at the very end of a life, and again, this is assuming you are able to speak, which a lot of people aren't. I'll get to the other case in a second. At the end of a Jew's life, we say, I know that the end is near. So God, if you're listening, please heal me. That's another thing about the vidui that people don't realize is it begins with a refuah shlema. It says, if life and death is in your hands, Holy One. If you can heal me, please do. However, if it's your will that this be the end of me, may this end be a final expiation for the sins that I have failed to make up for in my lifetime. That's the gist of the vidui. It's in Hebrew, ideally, but also in whatever language you can understand. It's also understood that many people at this last moment don't have the consciousness, the presence of mind to say that for themselves, and so there's a provision that someone can say it for them. And this is something I've been called on to do a number of times. Again, it's never a phone call that I like to get, but it's also always an honorable mitzvah to do for somebody, is to say the vidui on their behalf. And a friend of mine just said a vidui for somebody, and it's safety, as so many healthcare workers are right now. And so this has just made it very personal for me. And it wasn't even me doing it. It was just this phone call that I got. And he's in a hard place because he's got to wait and see, right, if he's safe. I had a call a week ago that my sons might have it, that both of them were sick with various symptoms that sounded familiar to people watching the news right now. Thank God, it turns out that both of them are healthy now. And if they did have it and couldn't verify it on the test, they have gotten through it. And so a lot of us are facing this right now. And so when I'm trying to teach the Torah to this moment, don't take it for academic teaching. This is serious in my family. It's affecting my friends. And so I want to give kavod to those who are on the front lines of this, the healthcare workers dealing with this, the grocery store workers trying to keep us all fed, the police and fire and paramedics who are trying to keep us all in order and healthy and safe and not on fire. So listen up. These are the heroes of our times, right? The first responders are always my heroes. The grocery store workers, I'm going to confess, I've probably taken for granted for most of my life, right? This is America. You can go in and get anything you want at any time of day, right? And if somebody wants a job, they can go and stock that shelf, and I don't have to think about them twice when I'm putting bread in my basket. Now I do, right? Now that's where we are. That's, it takes people to get that food to market. It takes police to keep everybody safe and in order, to keep the stores open that need to be open, and to keep the stores closed that need to be closed. It's the I'm sure the fire department is now maybe has a slightly different situation. Not as many maybe commercial place fires, but people are spending a lot of time at home, and some of those people are probably having accidents that require the fire department. And paramedics, all the more so. The EMTs out there, the advanced EMTs, the paramedics, I now know that those are different things, as I've been studying EMT skills myself, just reading the textbooks to be able to take care of my family and my friends and people in my congregation. These folks are doing the same job that they've always been doing, now just at much higher risk and with less resources to do it with. So, if you need something to pray for this Shabbos, pray for them, right? What I didn't anticipate was praying for my rabbi friends who are also frontline healthcare workers right now, right? Because if you don't have the outcome you want, whether you have the outcome you want or not, whether you're just sick and you're scared, you're going to need a rabbi, or you're going to want somebody there by your side. And those folks are getting in increased risks as well with the same shortage of face masks as everybody else. So if you need somebody to pray for the person who puts the bread on the shelf. Pray for somebody who is driving the truck to get the food to market. Pray for the people who always keep order, always keep us healthy, always keep us safe to the best of their abilities, and are now doing so at higher risk and still showing up for work. So don't pray for me. Don't pray for me, Argentina. Pray for those folks, and I'll pray for them too, and pray for my family. I'll make that my business. How about that? So a lot of great people have joined me in the chat. My good friends Triggers and Viv, K Dixie, Nawa64. Let's see. What else is here? Having attended class and discussion group at the temple mentioned, I would say that may not be I would say that some may not be into the lighthearted style of fun for Fun Friday. Yeah, I was mentioning that. I don't know. There's probably some people at PJTC like to have fun, and so look, I said all that serious stuff just to kind of counterbalance. I'm usually kind of a jokey guy. It's my nature. It's, sometimes I say it's a speech impediment. I can't really help it. I do believe we need humor at times like this. And often when I'm teaching, even stuff that I take more seriously than my life, when I'm teaching Torah, when I'm teaching about mitzvot, when I'm teaching about Jewish traditions, sometimes I'll throw a little humor in there as a way to help people remember it, right? It's just a teaching tool that I use. I never want anybody here at Pasadena or on the internet or anywhere to think that I got into teaching Torah because I don't take it seriously, right? As one of my Jewish friends back in Minnesota says, for me, it's as serious as a heart attack. And yet, this is my nature as a teacher. Please take it for in the spirit in which it is intended, and that is to share what my teachers have given to me with you in a way that helps you remember it, and also have a bit of fun, have a good time, because I think that helps people form emotional attachments to what they're learning. So the question is, maybe, and people can weigh in on this in the chat or in the comments later, would you like to watch me play video games? So that's maybe I'll put up a poll later. Would you like to watch me play video games? Just when I got into using Twitch, because for me, Twitch is the best live streaming platform available right now. I know Zoom is the unsung, hero of live streaming. Everybody knows who Zoom is right now. I even saw a meme that's like, it's this meme that's been going around for a while in other contexts where it's Freddy from the Mystery Machine, right? Freddy, who hangs out with Scooby-Doo and Shaggy and Velma and Daphne, is unmasking some criminal. And when it's like, let's see who's behind the COVID-19. And he unmasks the criminal, and it's a Zoom logo. They're like, these guys are doing really well right now. And they deserve to be, because they are enabling human contact in ways in which we never thought we would need them to help us with. That's what I'm praying for. I'm praying for that Zoom doesn't crash, because we need that way to contact each other. So I'm, as much as I love Zoom, I'm going to plug Twitch right now. Thank you, YouTube. I've taught a lot of Torah on YouTube. Thank you, Facebook, for connecting the world in ways it wasn't connected before. Shame on you for connecting some other people the way it was they weren't connecting before. But I really want to give a shout out to my friends at Twitch. I say my friends, like they don't know me, but they've helped me out quite a bit. Twitch.tv/Pasadena Jewish. Go there, sign up, takes seconds to get a profile, and then follow us on Twitch. And the more people who follow us on Twitch, the more fun things that we can do in the chat. Like we can, throw cheer for each other. We can host different chats and things like that. So check that out. I want to teach a little bit of Torah today. As I'm going to be teaching Torah all weekend. I'm not complaining, not bragging. Just that's my game, and I love it. So I'll be talking about the beginning of the book of Leviticus. So we're in the book of Leviticus. We've had some great cosmogony and family stories in Genesis. We've had a very cinematic narrative. I know of at least two great movies that I love based on X. I haven't seen the Russell Crowe one, and I've heard that I'm not missing much, but no digs on Russell Crowe. Loved Gladiator. But my two of my favorite movies of all time in any genre, Ten Commandments and Prince of Egypt, both having a lot to do with the narrative sweep of the book of Exodus. And then we get into Leviticus and it's like, yay, rules, yay, uncleanliness, and yay, skin conditions. I shared this with some folks this morning. I want to share it with the Pasadena crowd. This is my challenge for you for this year. First off, much like Zoom, a lot of people using it before, and then the curve went like this. This is where I think that Leviticus is going to cash in this year. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be Leviticus's most popular year in decades, if not millennia, because there's a lot of hand washing that's happening in Leviticus. Frankly, there's a lot of discussion of quarantine in Leviticus. What I will say is that sometimes people have a hard time discerning meaning in all the lists of rules and menus for sacrifice and that sort of thing. And they're like, can we just skip this part and get back to the wandering in the desert? Like, wandering in the desert never looks so good as when you're, stuck in Leviticus. But the intention that I want to carry into Leviticus this year is, how do we derive order in a situation of chaos? And if that's not topical, I don't know what is. Like, I think the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, at least here in the States, and I know it was started before it got here, or before we were paying attention to it here, I should say, we are in a time of chaos. There's ways in which we have to relate to each other that we never imagined, right? There's ways in which there are things we can't buy that we took for granted a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Right, things are chaotic, and right now we are all doing our best, and I really believe that. I really believe we are all doing our best to apply order, to make sense of what's going on, and to survive and thrive in what's going on. In my estimation, that is God's work, right? It begins with Breshit. God observed chaos, the tohu vavohu. And then spoke and started making order out of it. And that was the story of creation. So and he uses the word bara. There's this verb, bereshit bara, in the beginning of creation. God spoke and brought the world to order out of chaos. And bara, that verb, is only ever used for God. Right? There's no other, it's used a few times in the Torah, and the subject of that predicate is always God. So this is, some people say, we translate it as create, but we have other words for create, and this is a distinct word. And so I've heard some rabbis say that sentence, instead of, God created, it's more like God godded God's self, right? There's like Hashem, Hashem'd. And so how do we define that? Well, in context, it's the verb, very simply put, ordered chaos, took chaos and filled it with order, or constructed it in such a way that it was more manageable and tangible and perceptible by humans. And my belief is that is the main theme of Leviticus, is applying order to chaos. And I've been talking about this all week, and so I just want to distill it in a slightly different way. Is on the one hand, one way to deal with the chaos that's going on right now that I think is critical is empathy. You're going to see people making decisions that you think are wrong, right? People buying up too much of this kind of toilet paper or that kind of paper towel. People, businesses that are struggling to stay open when you think they should be shut down, and maybe even the city thinks they should be shut down. Right. And not for nothing, the mayor of Los Angeles has been talking about it. People say, hey, where should I call in and rat on those businesses that are still open? And the mayor said, look, if you feel safe, you should go to them and say, closed down. Like, you should be able to give that tochacha, that rebuke, right? But also do it with empathy that, look, they've got mouths to feed. They've got workers to keep in jobs right now. The more empathy we can apply, the more safely we're going to get through this. And so here's what I need to ask of you as we go into the book of Leviticus is have empathy for Leviticus. Like, even if you're like, oh, this is that gross book where they say, it seems like they judge the relationship that I have. Leviticus 18:22 gets a lot of flack, and in my opinion, rightly so. I have a different interpretation of that. We are going to get to that here in about 18 chapters. But, or it's that book that says, I can't eat what I love to eat. and I'm going to say, as a son of the South, I personally miss catfish. You're right. I grew up eating fried catfish. Leviticus says no. I probably didn't like it as much when I was a kid, but later on I really grew to appreciate biscuits and sausage gravy, specifically pork sausage gravy, because what else would you eat in the South, right? Leviticus says no. These cherished memories of my childhood, Leviticus puts the kibosh on them. And so there's lots of things to not like about Leviticus. So here's my encouragement to you, and I say it to myself as well. Go into Leviticus with a little bit of empathy, because what Leviticus is doing is it's taking the world out there, as Mary Douglas puts it, and it's applying taboos. And this is a technical language from an anthropologist, and I'm not one. I'm just passing this along. And the role of taboo in any society is to apply order to chaos. Take those things which we don't understand and we're afraid of, and set them aside so that they could be understood more safely. And that's what various things, and she has a whole chapter on the Jewish dietary laws as a way of making order out of the chaos of animals eating other animals, namely us eating other kinds of animals, and other cleanliness practices that are talked about in Leviticus. It's like, if we feel like Leviticus is just the fun police, or just there to judge our lifestyle or ruin our dinner, what I want to invite you to do is say, when you read Leviticus this year, try to imagine the chaos that they were living in at the time that they were trying to apply order to, because that's God's work, right? There it was specifically the context of priests trying to help their community live their holiest lives. And that may look different now, but the work goes on, right? We're doing work of asserting order and chaos right now, right? I've got 2 classes that I was really happily teaching in person that I'm now teaching purely online. I have online classes that I'm still teaching because nothing's changed in that respect, except that all my students are living in a different world now. So that's changed. But everybody's doing the best they can. And I'm not saying this to excuse any bad behavior or late start times on live streams myself, but I want to give you that intention when you're challenged in the coming week. Take a look at those things that challenge you and say, okay, what empathy could I have right now? What are they struggling with that they're not handling this situation the way I would handle this situation? What are they responsible for that they're trying to order and make work that I don't quite understand? And so that for me is the kavanah that I personally want to take into all of reading Leviticus this year. And that's the kavanah that I want to give to you. And you may enjoy, and this is, if I'm successful, then I hope that you enjoy Leviticus more in the coming year than you have ever enjoyed Leviticus. And I'm pretty sure no one has ever said that sentence before. So that I want to make sure you enjoy Leviticus as much as you've ever enjoyed Leviticus. Remember, I grew up on, let's see, the author again. Somebody was let's see, the author. Hold on, I'm looking at the live stream. I've been ignoring the live stream, the multi-chat. Carla's in the house. Triggers and Viv is here. I got a lot of friends. D. Willexen is here. Shabbat Shalom L'Kulam. That's Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Let's see. Nawa64 says, learning with Rabbi John more, thanks to PJTC, because I'm definitely live streaming more than I used to. Learning with Rabbi John Moore has helped order my week of chaos. That's cool. Now164 says, yep, I miss catfish too. Triggers a Bib says, shrimp, crab, lobster. Ugh, I'm torturing myself. The author again. So the author that I've been referring to is Mary Douglas. Don't know if she's still with us. I hope she is. I'm reading the more recent edition of her book that first came out in the 60s called Purity and Danger. And it's by Mary Douglas. It's a work of anthropology. I'll say I've had some great books that have helped me understand Judaism that aren't Jewish books, and I'll say Mary Douglas is now in my top two. A couple of the other one, probably my number one, I'll say, is The Heretical Imperative by Peter Berger. Not a Jewish person. Probably a German Lutheran, if I had to guess. And he talks about, what does he talk about? He talks about sort of moments of reformation, or moments that inspire heresy, and why that's important, why it helps civilizations endure, indeed why heresy helps religions endure. And it's probably more, I'll say, cogently put in a Jewish context by Rabbi B'nai Lappi in her Eli talk about I think it's called The Unrecognizable Jewish Future. But Peter Berger, as a religious historian and an anthropologist, or a sociologist of religion, lays this out really well in his book, The Heretical Imperative. B'nai Lappi puts it perhaps more cogently for a Jewish audience, although Peter Berger uses a lot of Jewish examples because he compares let's say the flowering of Jewish denominations starting really, late 18th, more mid 19th century, and then really taking off in the 20th century, this flowering of Jewish denominations mirroring in many ways the Protestant Reformation for some of the same reasons. And so that's worthwhile checking out. Mary Douglas. I still haven't finished this book, frankly. I have to confess, I haven't quite done my homework on the book report teacher, but it's really helping me understand Leviticus in new ways, and this idea that every society has the job of taking chaos that is the nature of human life. It's a feature, not a bug, and making order out of it in ways that we can relate healthfully to one another. And even relate to God healthfully. So those are my top two. I didn't know this was going to turn into a book review show. Those are my top two non-Jewish texts that have taught me the most about Judaism. Is Mary Douglas's Purity and Danger. I should put Amazon links on this show. Make a little money for the temple. Mary Douglas's Purity and Danger. Peter Berger's The Heretical Imperative. If you guys have favorite books, I'd love to hear about that. Throw those in the chat. What are your favorite Jewish books? Or what are your favorite not so Jewish books that have really helped you with your Judaism? I'd love to see that. Go ahead and throw that in the comments or the chat. Let's maybe get a little book club going. Ruthie Honey's here in the house. Says Shabbat Shalom, fam. Ruthie's my hero right now. Most deaf. She's working in an essential industry, helping people get fed. So thank you for that. K Dixie, Triggers and Viv, Nawa64, always welcome. D Alexon's in the house. Nice to have you here. So I'll stick around for, that's really all I had to teach today. I'll stick around a little bit longer if anybody has questions. If not, I'll go back to preparing for Shabbat, maybe playing some video games on my own time. So that's two questions I have for you that you can answer in the chat if you are still with us. What are some of your favorite books that aren't Jewish but maybe should be? I'll put it that way. And into a period of rest. That's something that I've done in other live streams. And don't worry, it's not going to be like Call of Duty or Doom or any like shoot 'em up scary grossness. I only play ESRB rated 10 and up, in public anyway. So, we play things like Mario Kart, and we've been playing Legend of Zelda lately. There's some sword fighting and stuff, but it's not like the video games that people warn you about so much. Right now, I just got a new game that called Escape First that is a simulated escape room. One thing, my daughter's over there, she says it's awesome. One thing that my wife and I really enjoy, and then we discovered this maybe last summer, we've done it a bunch since, are escape rooms. And this is where you go get locked in a room on purpose, And there are little clues around the room that you solve various puzzles, and then you get a key, and then you turn the key and you escape the room. Hence the name. And so right now, escape rooms are closed. They're fun, nerdy ones. One time, often on Hanukkah, I'll get her like 8 jigsaw puzzles. One thing that I'm not going to say it nearly ended our marriage, but it was, she was mad at me. I got her I think it was either 1,000 or 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzles. After that, she was just, after all that insanity, couldn't find the last piece, put the whole puzzle away, and then like checked her pocket and found the last piece. So after she put the whole puzzle away. So, and I don't think she's attempted it since, but she's doing jigsaw puzzles right now. We do this murder mystery by mail thing. It's called Hunt a Killer, where you pretend to be a detective, and you get a box every month. You get a box full of clues, and over the course of 6 months, you like eliminate suspects based on new clues that you're getting. And that's the kind of stuff we love. So an escape room is kind of an embodiment of that. It's a puzzle that you like live in for an hour and try to solve your way out of. So the game that I've been playing, called Escape First, is a simulated escape room on the Nintendo Switch. So if you're interested in watching a rabbi be bad at video games while answering your Jewish questions live in the chat, hit me up. I'd be happy to do that. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Really, really pleased to be able to share a little bit of Torah with you, a little bit of fun. Really happy to see my friends joining us by chat. Triggers and Viv. We got some book recs in here. Triggers and Viv recommends Essential Judaism by George Robinson. Strangely, I have not read that. I've seen it like a lot on people's top lists, especially people who are looking for an introduction to Judaism. That's usually at the top of the list. That's not one, I haven't read that one yet. My interest have been, or rather the books that I was reading when I was looking for an introduction to Judaism, Rabbi Artsen's It's a Mitzvah, Rabbi Strasfeld's Guide to the Jewish Holidays. Highly recommend Harold Kushner's To Life. This is something that they distribute to all the students in the Miller Introduction to Judaism class. Anita Diamant's To Choose a Jewish Life is a good one. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I've really enjoyed learning with you guys in this way. If you want me to keep on doing it, just show up and say hi. Let us know. We at Pasadena are doing a good job by giving this to you. Until you shut us down, I'll be broadcasting every weekday at 3 p.m.